I was so lucky to be able to work 13 seasons with Graham Wardle, and I think it's funny. You don't get.
Welcome back, Heartland family. I'm Emma, and this is Next Scene, where we don't just watch stories, we feel them. Where every tear, every smile, every whispered promise becomes part of something bigger. A place where fans like you gather to relive the moments that move us, that shape us, and that remind us why we fell in love with Heartland in the first place. And today is not just any episode. This is the episode we've all been waiting for. The one that feels like coming home after a long, stormy winter. We're diving deep into the most powerful, emotional, and soul-stirring moment the series has gifted us in years. Season 19, Episode 1, The Return of a Legend. Yes, you heard it right. Ty Borden is back. After years of heartbreak, aching silence, and questions that echoed through every corner of the ranch, the man who stole Amy's heart and ours makes his grand return. This isn't just about a character coming back. This is about hope being reignited, about healing beginning again. And trust me, you won't want to miss a second of what's ahead. In today's video, we're pulling back the curtain on a story years in the making, one that reshapes everything we thought we knew. We'll explore how Ty's miraculous return unfolds, what it means for Amy and little Lindy, and how Jack, Lou, Georgie, and Tim react when the past they thought was lost forever suddenly walks through the front door. This isn't just a twist in the script, it's a turning point for Heartland, for the characters we love, and for every single one of us who held onto the belief in love, in hope, and in the power of second chances. The episode opens with a calm so tender it feels like the kind of peace that only comes before a storm. Hudson wakes beneath a soft morning sky, the sun rising like a golden promise behind the mountains, casting a warm glow over the ranch. Horses graze quietly in the paddock, their breath misting in the cool air. Inside the barn, Amy is brushing a chestnut mare, her motion steady, her mind somewhere far away. It's routine. It's gentle. It's safe. Everything feels normal, almost too normal. But then the camera begins to move, slowly, deliberately, as if it too senses that something is about to shift. A faint sound creeps in footsteps, slow and heavy, carrying the weight of time and distance. The lens narrows in on the dirt floor. A pair of boots appear. Scuffed, dusty, familiar. Boots that haven't walked this ground in years. Then we see denim, a worn jacket, and a tall silhouette backlit by the morning sun at the barn entrance. Our hearts pound. The moment stretches. The music drops to silence, and then the camera rises. His face comes into view. Ty Borden, alive, breathing, standing right there. For a second, we don't even trust our own eyes. Is it a dream? A flashback? But no, it's real. He's really back. And just like that, time stands still. Amy freezes, the brush slipping from her hand. Lindy watches from a distance. The wind whispers through the trees. And everything we thought we'd accepted is shattered in the best possible way. And then the truth begins to unfold, a truth buried deep beneath years of silence and sorrow. After Ty was shot in season 14, he wasn't lost to complications, as we believed. He was rushed to a hospital in critical condition, yes, but what happened next was nothing short of a hidden chapter in the Heartland saga. Ty had been quietly working to expose an illegal wildlife trafficking operation. And in doing so, he made enemies powerful, dangerous enemies. The government saw the threat. They knew his life, and the lives of those he loved hung in the balance. So they made the call. Ty Borden had to disappear. His death was staged. His identity erased. He was placed in witness protection, moved across the country, cut off from everyone, including Amy and Lindy, for their own safety. And for years, he lived in silence, unable to reach out, waiting for the day it would be safe to come home. That day is now. Ty didn't agree to vanish because he wanted to run. He did it because he had to. Because protecting Amy and Lindy was worth more than his own freedom, more than his own identity. Every second he spent hidden, every night he lay awake in a life that wasn't his. It was their faces, Amy's strength, Lindy's smile that kept him going. He made the ultimate sacrifice, not out of fear, but out of love. And now, after years that felt like lifetimes, with the case closed and the threat silenced forever, the chains finally break. The road home, once impossible, is now wide open. And Ty Borden takes that road, one heavy step at a time, back to the only place he ever truly belonged, Heartland. Amy is in the barn, lost in the rhythm of routine, brushing a mare's mane. Dust dances in the light streaming through the wooden slats. It's a morning like any other, or so it seems. The creak of the barn door echoes softly behind her, a sound she's heard 1,000 times. She doesn't flinch, doesn't even glance up. But then something shifts. The air thickens. A sudden stillness wraps around her like a whisper. She turns slowly, her hand frozen mid-stroke. And there he is, Ty, standing in the doorway, weathered by time, stronger somehow, but unmistakably him. Her breath catches. Her eyes widen. Her soul seems to scream before her voice can form the word. Ty. His name falls from her lips like a prayer, shaky, broken, but sacred. He doesn't speak at first. He just watches her, eyes brimming with everything he never got to say. Then, with a soft nod, he murmurs, "It's me, Amy." And that's when everything breaks. She rushes toward him like her heart won't survive another second of distance. She crashes into him, sobbing, clinging to him as if she's afraid he'll vanish again. Her body shakes in his arms, and he holds her tighter than he ever has. "I thought I lost you," she chokes out between sobs. "Every day I prayed. Every day I wished for a miracle." Ty buries his face into her hair, voice cracking as he whispers, "I never stopped loving you. I've been trying to come back to you this whole time." It's a reunion born from pain, patience, and the kind of love that refuses to die. In that embrace, years of grief begin to melt. Wounds start to close. Amy, who had learned to survive without him, can finally breathe with him again. Then, from behind them, a small voice echoes soft, curious, and innocent. "Mom?" Amy turns. Standing a few feet away is Lindy, cradling her favorite book, a puzzled look on her face. She stares at the man holding her mother, brows furrowed, heart sensing something she can't yet name. "Mom? Who is that?" Amy drops to her knees, her hands trembling as she takes Lindy gently by the shoulders. Her eyes swim with emotion, and her voice wavers. "Sweetheart, this is your dad." This is Ty. Time stops again, but for a different reason. Lindy looks up at the man before her. His face is unfamiliar, but his presence is warm. She doesn't fully understand. She doesn't need to. Ty kneels, tears in his eyes. "I've missed every moment of your life," he says softly, "but I've loved you since the day you were born." And then, without a word, Lindy steps forward and wraps her arms around him. Small, trusting, brave. She doesn't need proof. She feels it. His heartbeat, his love, his truth. And in that embrace, something holy happens. Not just a reunion, but a rebirth. A father and daughter finally united, not just by blood, but by destiny. Meanwhile, just outside the barn, Jack Bartlett approaches. He's lived long enough to carry more grief than most men could bear. He's seen friends fall, family fade, and horses breathe their last. But nothing gutted him quite like losing Ty. Ty wasn't just Amy's husband. He was family. Jack's protege, the boy who learned to ride, to build, to believe under Jack's watchful eye. A boy who became a man, and a man Jack came to love like his own son. The day he was told Ty had died, Jack didn't cry. He didn't speak. But something inside him, something deep and unspoken, cracked and never quite healed. Now, hearing the cries from the barn, Jack walks in, expecting maybe an injured horse or Amy reliving a hard memory. But then he sees him. Ty turns. Their eyes meet. Jack freezes mid-step. "Hi, Jack," Ty says, his voice low, filled with emotion. Jack's hat slips off as he removes it slowly, hand trembling not from age, but from something deeper. His lips part, but no words come. His eyes, always so strong, well with tears. And for a moment, all the pain, all the years of silence dissolve. For a long moment, Jack says nothing. He just stares, eyes locked on Ty, frozen somewhere between disbelief and the overwhelming tide of 1,000 memories. His lips begin to quiver, his eyes shimmer not with weakness, but with a kind of sacred vulnerability that Jack Bartlett rarely lets anyone see. And yet, in that moment, there's no need to hide. He takes a breath, then another, and finally, with slow, deliberate steps, he walks toward Ty, each footfall carrying the weight of years spent mourning a man who was never truly gone. He stops when they're face to face. Jack's jaw clenches, holding back a wave of emotion he's not sure he can contain. Then he speaks. "You little son of a gun," he says, voice gravelly and thick with unshed tears. "I knew in my gut you weren't gone. I just couldn't let myself believe it." Jack doesn't wait another second. He pulls Ty into him, arms tight, strong, protective like a father welcoming his son home from war. He slaps Ty's back just like he used to when Ty first arrived at Heartland, a lost boy full of anger and potential. That same slap now carries decades of love, forgiveness, and relief. "You were the best damn decision Amy ever made," Jack mutters, his voice breaking. "And now you're back. Thank God. You're back." This moment isn't just about Ty returning, it's about restoration. For Jack, it's the return of the missing heartbeat of his family. The unspoken hole that never quite healed is finally whole again. That night, after the shock has settled and the ranch is quiet, Jack and Ty sit side by side on the porch, just like they used to. The crickets chirp in the distance, stars scatter the sky, and they sip coffee in silence, comfortable, peaceful home. Then, in the kind of stillness only the prairie can offer, Jack turns to Ty and says the words he's held on to all these years. "You made me proud, Ty. Every damn day. I may not have said it enough, but you were always like a son to me. And I never stopped loving you like my own." Meanwhile, miles away, Lou Fleming is sitting at her desk, buried in paperwork, when her phone rings. It's Jack. She answers casually, expecting another ranch update, but his voice shakes. "Lou, he's back." Lou freezes. "Who's back?" she asks, though part of her already knows. "Ty." She laughs, but it's not joy. It's disbelief, shock, fear. A breathless, nervous laugh that comes from someone whose world just tilted sideways. Her planner's mind goes blank. Her organized chaos can't compute this. "No," she whispers. "No, Jack, that's not funny." "It's not a joke," he replies softly. "He's here, alive." Lou doesn't hang up. She just grabs her keys, silent and trembling, and drives no plan, no words, just instinct. Her fingers grip the steering wheel so tightly, her knuckles pale. Her mind races with thoughts she never dared to hope for. And then, as she pulls into the familiar gravel drive of Heartland, she sees them. Ty, standing by the barn, holding Amy's hand. smiling not just with his lips, but with his whole being. Lou slams the brakes. Her breath catches in her throat. The world slows down. She steps out of the car, her legs unsteady, her heart thudding in her ears. For a second, she just watches, trying to process the impossible. And when Ty turns toward her, their eyes meet and something inside her finally breaks loose. All the strength she's carried, all the responsibility, all the quiet guilt she's buried it, crashes into her like a wave. "Ty," she whispers, her voice cracking. He walks toward her, tears in his eyes. She doesn't hesitate. She runs into his arms like a sister, reclaiming her brother. And for the first time in years, Lou lets herself cry. Not for the past, not for the pain, but for the miracle standing in front of her. It's like seeing a ghost. She steps out of the car, her legs weak. Ty looks up and sees her. "Hey, Lou," he says gently. Lou's breath catches in her throat, like the world just paused and forgot how to breathe. Her lips tremble, but no sound escapes. Her eyes, wide and filled with a storm of disbelief, search Ty's face for answers, for proof that what she's seeing isn't a cruel illusion. Finally, in a voice so fragile, it's barely there, she whispers, "No, no, you're supposed to be," but she can't finish. The words crumble under the weight of years spent grieving. The tears hit without warning. She stumbles forward, each step gaining speed as though her heart can't hold back any longer. And then, with all the weight of love, pain, and raw human need, she falls into Ty's arms. "You don't understand what you did to us," Lo sobs, the words tumbling out like a flood. "To Amy, to me, we broke, Ty. We broke into a million pieces." Ty holds her tighter, his own tears falling freely. "This is not just a reunion, it's a reckoning." "I never wanted to hurt you," he says, voice thick with guilt. "I didn't have a choice, Lo. If I could have come back, if I could have just called, I would have moved heaven and earth." Lou pulls back just enough to see him, her hands trembling as she touches his face, her fingers tracing every familiar line to prove he's real. "I don't care about what happened," she says breathlessly. "You're here. You're breathing. You're alive. That's all that matters now." For Lo, this moment is a breakthrough. A slow, aching release of every burden she's carried, every sleepless night she hid behind spreadsheets and city hall meetings. All the strength she faked, all the smiles she forced, it all crumbles. And she lets it. She allows herself to collapse. Because for once, the person she lost has come back. And this time, she doesn't have to be the strong one. Georgie had been halfway across the world chasing Olympic dreams when the call came. She didn't believe it, at first refused to. "This has to be a mistake," she said. "Some sick prank. It can't be true." But something in Lou's voice, something in the silence between words told her this wasn't a lie. It was real. She raced to the airport. Her mind was a blur of memories, training rides with Ty, late night talks about second chances, the way he always saw her as more than her past. He had been the first person to truly believe in her, not as a foster kid, but as a fierce, capable young woman. And when he died, that belief was shattered. As she stepped onto Heartland's familiar soil, her heart beat like thunder in her chest. She saw him by the fence, just where he used to stand, and time stood still. Her backpack slipped from her shoulder. Her legs felt like jelly. She took one step, then another. And then he said it. Georgie. Her name. From his voice. The same voice that once told her she could win, that she mattered. She ran. No hesitation. No words. Just raw emotion. She threw herself into his arms, sobbing uncontrollably. "You don't know how much I needed you," she cried into his chest. "When you died, I lost my compass. I lost the one person who never gave up on me. Ty held her like a brother would. Steady, safe. I watched every single one of your competitions, he whispered. I knew you'd be incredible. You always were. I never stopped believing in you, not for a second. Later that night, they sat together under the stars, talking about everything they'd missed. The horses, the medals, the falls, the victories. And finally, Georgie said what had been in her heart for years. You weren't just family to me, Ty. You were my big brother. And losing you broke something I didn't think would ever heal. But now it was starting to. Tim Fleming never liked showing emotion. Not because he didn't feel, but because feeling deeply scared him. He'd messed up too much, hurt too many people. So when Ty died, he buried his grief in anger. He fought the world, fate, and himself for letting it happen. He couldn't protect his daughter. He couldn't protect Ty. And he carried that guilt like armor. So when Lou calls and tells him Ty is alive, he doesn't speak. He just gets in the truck and drives like a man chasing ghosts. He pulls up to Heartland, heart pounding like a war drum. He sees Amy and Ty near the barn, hands intertwined like no time had passed. His world tilts. What the hell is going on? Tim barks, his voice loud, defensive, shaking. Ty turns slowly. Calm, open. It's me, Tim. I'm alive. Tim's face flushes red. It's not just rage. It's betrayal, shock, relief, love, everything tangled in one impossible moment. You died, Ty. We buried you. Amy mourned you. I mourned you. You left us with nothing. Amy steps forward to intervene, but Ty doesn't flinch. He walks closer, his eyes locked on the man who had come to respect him, even love him like a son. I begged them to let me come back, Ty says, voice firm but trembling. Every day. I watched videos of Lindy growing up. I listened to Amy's voicemails until my phone died. I never gave up. Not on you. Not on her. But they said if I came back too soon, all of you would be in danger. Tim's jaw tightens. His breath catches. And then the anger melts. Slowly, silently. He walks forward, closes the distance, and pulls Ty into the kind of hug only a father figure can give, tight, desperate, unrelenting. You're a damn fool, Tim whispers, voice cracking. But I'm glad you're home. And as the sun dips below the horizon, casting Heartland in a warm golden glow, the ranch feels whole again. Not perfect. Not healed. But whole. Because somehow, against every odd, the broken pieces are finding their way back. And in the quiet of the evening, with tears still fresh and hearts still tender, the Duttons, the Flemings, and the entire Heartland family realize one truth. Sometimes the impossible is just love refusing to give up. Now, years later, under that same soft light, they sat on the back porch side by side, yet worlds apart, trying to find the right words. Amy clutched her coffee cup, her hands trembling slightly. Her eyes were fixed on the horizon, but her heart was completely focused on the man beside her, Tay. Alive, breathing, real. And yet, she still couldn't quite believe it. Ty looked over at her, not with the confidence he once had, but with the humility of someone who had lost everything and was somehow given a second chance. Amy, Ty said at last, his voice cracking under the weight of everything unsaid, everything lost. There's nothing I can say that will undo the pain. Nothing that can take back the years. But I need you to know this. I didn't leave by choice. I didn't die by choice. I was taken from you, and I fought every single day to find my way back. Amy stood frozen, her breath catching in her throat. Her eyes welled, the tears coming before she could stop them. This was the voice she had longed to hear in her dreams, the face she had cried to in silence, the ghost who had haunted her every sunrise. "Then why didn't you come back?" She choked out, her voice quivering with years of unanswered grief. "Why did you let me think you were dead? Why did you let Lindy grow up thinking her father was just a story in a photograph?" Ty's gaze fell to the ground, shame written in every line of his face. "I wanted to. God, Amy, I needed to. But I couldn't. They put me in witness protection deep cover. There was an international investigation tied to the clinic bombing. They said if I contacted anyone, even a letter, it could cost you your lives. I didn't believe it at first until I saw what they were up against. I stayed away because I thought I was keeping you safe. But every day I was gone, it destroyed me." Amy's hands clenched into fists. She stood up abruptly and began pacing across the porch, her boots thudding softly against the old wood. "You don't know what it was like," she snapped, her voice rising with the fury of a woman who'd carried grief like armor. "I watched you die, Ty. I held your hand. I buried you. I watched Lindy learn to say daddy to a picture frame. I broke. And somehow I still got up every day and raised our daughter alone. You were gone. And I blamed myself for not being able to save you." Ty stood too, his hands trembling now. "And I blamed myself for everything. For leaving you. For missing Lindy's first steps, her first words. I talked to you in my head every single day. I kept that photo of you and her in my pocket like it was the only piece of my soul I had left. You were never out of my heart, Amy. Not for a single second." Amy turned to face him, her face streaked with tears. Her eyes held the raw truth of every sleepless night, every ache that never went away. She saw the man, she had loved the man who had once promised her forever standing in front of her with years of pain in his eyes. But behind that pain, she saw something else too, hope. "So what now?" she whispered. "You're back. But everything's changed. I'm angry. I'm relieved. I'm terrified. I don't know how to feel." Ty stepped forward slowly, carefully, like a man approaching a wild horse he once loved, but feared might bolt. "I'm scared too. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect things to go back to the way they were. But I'm here now. I want to be Lindy's father. I want to be whatever you'll let me be in your life." Amy stared at him for a long moment, long enough to remember the boy who fixed her mother's horse, the man who held her hand during the worst of times, and the love that never truly died. "I never stopped loving you," she finally said, her voice barely audible. "Even after I thought I lost you, I carried that love with me. I raised Lindy on stories of the man you were brave, kind, stubborn, loyal. And now you're still that man, but we've both changed. We're older now, wiser, a little broken. But maybe we can rebuild." Ty reached for her hand cautiously, reverently. And when their fingers touched, it wasn't just skin meeting skin. It was years of pain colliding with the first spark of healing. "We'll take it slow," he whispered. "One step at a time. Like we used to. You, me, and Lindy." Amy nodded, her tears now soft, almost peaceful. "And Heartland," she said, looking out over the fields bathed in sunset. "This place brought us together once. Maybe it can heal us again." As the wind rolled through the golden pasture, carrying memories and promises on its back, the moment felt like more than just a reunion. It was a resurrection. Of love. Of family. Of faith. Heartland Season 19, Episode 1 isn't just an episode, it's a homecoming. A story of second chances. A reward for every fan who held on to hope. Because sometimes, just sometimes, love finds a way back. Even from the impossible. Ty Borden's return isn't just a plot twist, it's a testament. A story carved from sacrifice, fueled by love, and healed by redemption. It shows us that when love is real, when family is stitched into your soul, no force in this world, not even death, can truly keep it apart. This moment was for every Heartland fan who never stopped hoping. For every tear we shed, for every scene we rewound, for every time we whispered, "What if Ty could come back?" This was our miracle. Now I want to hear from you. What hit you the hardest? What moment made you break or made you believe again? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's celebrate this long-awaited reunion together as a Heartland family. And if this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Next Kind for more emotional deep dives, powerful story breakdowns, and everything Heartland. I'm Emma, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here. Thank you for feeling this with me. Until next time, stay kind, stay hopeful, and always believe in second chances. Because sometimes they really do come true.